So, it's also going to be my patch rundown for the moment. Hello, children of the Earth. Trigger will call an update to the matchmaking system, so all games have an unbalanced amount of volatile players. This is a lot more interesting than the broad explanation I give up here. So, head below for all the info. For the third round of jungle changes, non-jungle champions, a couple additional system changes to continue helping top laners be more of a threat throughout the whole game. I don't know. Okay, so this is the TLDR. Draven, Hecarim, Kayn, Kindred, Moore, Grise. Okay. So this is good variety for jungle. Hecarim hasn't been like a meta pick for a hot minute. Kayn has been lacking in power as well, and Kindred has continued to just not exist in solo queue. For a long time, actually, because she is just a very weak pick right now. I think people are going the menu build on her, which is okay, but it's just another scaling build, which requires a lot of time. It's good that we're getting some more color in the AD carry position. I'd like to see more than just Ophelia, Senna, and occasional MF. Or, there are 4 champs for each role right now that are really good, and for bot lane it's Draven, Aphelios, Senna, and Varus. And I guess MF fits in there to a degree. Right. It's good that we're getting Veigar buffs. He's a champion that's really cool to see. So is Aerith. The nerfs... I think the Garen one's kind of deserved, because he's kind of, like, imploding in solo queue right now, like, where he's just, like, a really good pick, but he's also, like, really bad for his team. I don't know if Shaco needed nerfs. He's pretty good right now, I think. That may just because I play, like, maybe just because I play, like, a really good counter to him, so I may be a little skewed in that, but, yeah, no. Aphelios definitely deserved the nerfs. He got this patch, so he's not very good anymore. He's very weak. Autofill. Solo do match because it's like the free games where teams don't have the same. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Okay. That's good. I feel as fair as possible. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, that's really good. By reducing the number of pre-mates. That's so smart, actually. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But this is something that just takes extra adjusting. Okay. Yeah, because influx doesn't matter. Alright, the Anivia. Anivia changes. RI's duration increased from 2 to 3 seconds, and the same as Q. That's really good. This gives you a lot more room to trade in, considering, you know, R. The R changes are huge for her. It's really solid, actually, I think. It's probably the best change that they've done to Anivia in forever. I think the other change that they were planning to do where the R didn't get cancelled by CC was way too oppressive in team fights. Because even if you got on top of her, the R wouldn't stop, so... Yeah, this is a good, this is a good alternative. It's not as powerful, obviously, but it's like... It's still a good little niche up in power for her. Filio, Severum's innate heal, and Infernum's innate damage to minions decreased. Shadow's power damage decreased. That's good. Okay, so Severum, 25, 3 to 20. That's really good. That's really good. This will make him a lot less oppressive to fight in lane, because all of a sudden you don't have an innate Bloodthirster, but it still maintains his scaling while still hitting it a little bit. That's really good. Because generally as 4th item, you still want to go, like, a lifesteal item anyway, so it doesn't matter. Infernum, 45% of the AoE damage, 30% at level 9. Okay. Oh, this was also level 9, I didn't pay attention. This is good. This hits his scaling a little harder than I would have liked. Maybe it would have been good to set it to 35%, but 40, this still puts him in a good spot. 30 to 173% of total attack damage to 2 to 164. This is really small. This is very small. It depends a little bit on, like, how the numbers were adjusted as he's scaling. Like, I'd like to see the whole, like, chart mapped out, but this is still very small. It doesn't really matter to him at all. He's still just, you know, his own thing. Aphelios will still remain to be meta. He's going to be a little more fringe now, since some of his counters will probably come to light after this. Maybe we'll start seeing some more early game AD carries, maybe some AD carries with a little more range being picked into him, like Varus or Draven, but especially with the Draven buffs. But this is overall, I like these nerfs. Very solid, very, very, very quality. Darius, W bonus damage decreased, cost increased, E cost increased, but now scales down with rank. Yeah, this is very good. This is very good, and this is an indirect buff to Rengar, actually, because this is actually one of the only ways you can fight Darius top lane is by attacking his mana pool, and it's very good, actually, that they're buffing his scaling. Very, very minimally, granted, because it's only 15 mana at like rank 5, and you're maxing this ability last anyway, or second, I guess, if you really need the armor pen, but it's still good. W from 50 to 70 to 40 to 60. That's good, and the mana cross is going up. So this is just a hit to his lane phase, really, because he was being this is I don't know how to feel, because this is good in lanes that have really good sustain against him, but he's still gonna be a punishing tank top lane that will one-shot you if you get into lane. Like, he's definitely one of the more difficult tanks, juggernauts rather, to play against top lane, because he can run such an assortment of runes and masteries, as well as summoner spells, to the point where it really makes him versatile in the niche he wants to fit. Like, he can run Conquer, he can run Grasp, he can run Aftershock, whatever he really wants to do. But he can also run Ghost, Ignite, TP, it doesn't really matter. But I like these nerfs. It's a bit on the low side, in my opinion. I don't think you should be targeting his early game, but more so his scaling. But these are good nerfs overall. He's been a little rampant in solo queue recently. Draven, W, decay movement speed increase. We're buffing some Draven's power in a way that experienced Draven was capitalized on, so he can move into higher skill levels of play. 40 to 60 to 50 to 70. Placebo buffs. Really, that's what this is screaming to me. 10% move speed is like, like 20 at best, right? Like maybe 30. 10% move speed. It's really not that much, and it's not doing a whole lot to alleviate the other problems he has right now. This is actually really good if we get to see him picked into Aphelios now, because the W will allow him to close the range gap considerably when he has green gun up, which is really the only time when you want to be fighting Draven, I feel, is when you have the green gun up, or you have the red Q, the red-white combo, the Severum Crescendum combo. So this is good. These are good placebo buffs, but it doesn't really do much other than that matchup. Draven players will be Draven players, they'll still be very good. You know, that's what they do. Garen, base magic resist growth decreased, E-crit strike ratio decreased. Garen's build diversity is up, but not quite where we want him to be, so we're nerfing some of the stats more towards damage builds. He's also just really strong right now. Yeah, magic resist growth is going down by 0.5, that's big. And E-judgment, 33%. Okay, so this definitely... This is a really good nerf, actually. This is very smart by Riot. Because this affects the power curve of his Phantom Dancer build very effectively. Very, very effectively. I think that people will stop going Phantom Dancer on him, actually, if you have a brain. Because along with the magic resist trend, this opens him up to AP matchups top lane that can punish him, such as Kennen or Rumble. So I think the predominant build we'll see is probably Cleaver Maw or Triforce Maw. Yeah. This is really just a nerf into his AP. This is a very, very in-depth nerf that it wouldn't show on the surface, but Garen mains will identify. Like, picking Rumble against Garen is probably one of the worst lanes that Garen can deal with in general, because he can't trade effectively into Rumble because of the speed up and the slow, and the just the zoning that he gets level 1 is just way too high. If he takes E or even Q, it doesn't matter. So this is very, very, very good. It's bad for Garen players, obviously, but it doesn't really affect anyone else. The magic resist growth, it's not huge into the late game anyway, because you are going to eventually start building tank, but it is still... This affects his laning phase very heavily. And even his mid game, actually, because the critical strike ratio, you're only buying 25% crit anyway, so you're not exactly itemizing super heavily into, You're not itemizing super heavily into anti-AP, or you're itemizing super heavily into... You're not itemizing super heavily into crit either. So, it just... The combination of making him not want to go Phantom Dancer as much anymore, but kind of making him crave Maw, or maybe even Spirit Visage is pretty big. So I think we'll start seeing a lot more Garen. Garen start focusing towards different builds. Yeah, this is very smart by Riot, but I don't think it'll trend him towards damage builds. On the opposite, actually. Hecarim, our fear duration increased. Such a placebo buff. This is so disgusting, actually. It does nothing for him. Hecarim's just like a tier 3 jungler right now, tier 2 maybe. Like, if you want him to go up in effectiveness in the jungle, you have to kill tanks. Because that's who Hecarim really struggles against. Like, Hecarim's a champion that, because of the way that he doesn't scale, and he's like this early mid-game champion that really kind of just peaks when he gets Triforce, and then a little bit more when he gets Sterax or Warrior. It's just not worth it for him to be picked into something like Sedge, where, sure, you can peak, but as long as she's not falling behind, she's still going to be just as useful as you. This is just not really what you're looking for in a Hecarim buff. Like, these are just... it's quality of life, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't really change anything. Kayn, passive orb gain speed increased later. Last patch piece orb gain, but his transformation is later. 13. Okay, so this is good and bad, because it doesn't incentivize him to be very active early game, because you're getting your transformation later on anyway, and I don't. Yeah, no. It isn't worth it for him. This is just a very small adjustment. It's not really a buff. It's good, but it doesn't change the way that you'll play Kayn. I think it'll actually bait players into being less active early. This doesn't do anything to change the way the champion kind of has this terrible... How do I put this? He has this terrible conundrum into early game junglers where he wants but also doesn't want to fight them. So it kind of just fucks him really hard. Kindred, base attack damage growth and mana regen increased. W health increased or increased. This is great. Actually amazing. Wow. These changes are very, very good. This will probably make her clear in jungle post level 6 a lot better. The healing is nice for early as well. This means you can start taking the AoE camps. And this is good overall. Like this buff for the healing is good. I'd like to see, instead of attack damage growth, attack speed growth. Because that way, like, I'd like to see... I think that the way that Riot should tackle Kindred is reducing the gain that she gets on her marks and increasing her early game viability. Because she's a scaling jungler that doesn't have access to the ways she wants to scale. Which is kind of what really fucks her. Because she wants to get her marks, but in the meta right now, when you have picks like Sejuani, champions like Set, Trundle, all these champions that kind of just get on top of Kindred, it's really hard to play her when you don't have access to what's going to let you outscale. Like, it's just, she's a champion that suffers very heavily off of not being able to kite and having this huge learning curve. she's good. These buffs are good, and players who play Kindred effectively will still be good on Kindred, and they'll love these changes. But it's just this is basically just a little buff to her early clear, makes her mid game a little stronger, but it doesn't really do much for the champion's overall issue. So good buffs, but nothing that really will change her position in the meta. Morg, base movement speed increase, E-shield increased early. Movement speed goes up to 335. 5 movement speed's not a huge deal. Black shield going from 60 to 300 to 80 to 300. Okay, so they're just buffing her E a little bit. This is probably targeted at some of the AP supports we've been seeing. This is probably actually so that she can start getting picked into the Fasting Senna. Yeah. Because this way, she has more leeway into the supports that are usually picked with Fasting Senna, like Nautilus. Yeah. These are... but the 20 damage isn't a huge deal, and later on it just becomes the same thing. She's still good. She's just not amazing. She's probably, like, tier 2 support right now. Maybe tier 3. Rise, base mana regen growth increased, W damage increased later. Mana regen growth is 1, W will go from 80 to 160 to 80 to 200. Just buffing and scaling a little bit. It's good. Good changes. Won't change the nerfs that they did earlier, and the fact that Conqueror's a lot weaker now. This isn't going to change anything about Rise. He's still a very niche pick right now that functions into lanes that don't outrange him. Like, the biggest counter to Rise right now is probably picking something like Xerath or Vel'Koz, where you can punish him from a range and really zone him from getting minions early. And if you pair that in conjunction with the Rise and junglers that we've seen, like Lee Sin and Elise, it really puts him in a rough spot, because at any point, if he gets ganked early and his itemization gets deviated and he doesn't have access to tier or catalyst early in the lane phase, he kind of just becomes useless. That, along with the nerfs to TP in the last 2 seasons, really just kind of make him very fringe. The reason that we were seeing him get picked at Worlds last year was kind of just because the champion's base stats were very strong and allowed him to get through the early game almost unscathed. And now it's kind of coming to light what they wanted the champion to be in the beginning. It's good, but the buffs don't do that much. It's just a little bit of power. Placebo buffs. They want you to realize that Rise isn't that bad right now. He's just not great. Passive AD per soul decrease, miss, cooldown now scales. Oh! Oh! Huh. So they're trying to nerf Fasting Senna. I don't know how to feel about this, because Fasting Senna isn't getting picked in competitive in solo queue, so this is mostly just a competitive nerf that really won't do much for her. So I don't know. This isn't really that great. These are good nerfs, but it's just gonna fuck her over. The cooldown, especially being, oh wow, yeah. The cooldown being shifted by 2 seconds this far into levels is really bad. I think we'll still see Fasting Senna, but only into very fringe matchups. Yeah, only for teams that really want to play her. Like, I know C9 has had a penchant for it recently, with Sven just being insane in everything he plays, but I really don't think this is like a huge nerf. It's good because the AD will also be huge, but teams that want to play her still will. Teams that don't. Simple as that. Yeah. Shaco. One more thing on the Senna is, in no scenario is Senna ever going to be picked AD carry in solo queue ever again, because the soul drop off, the nerf that they did was way too high, and if you're picking the champion AD carry, you're inting your team, because she will be useless until 50 minutes into the game if you're farming effectively. So yeah, just champion is really strong for support overall. This will probably bump her down to a tier 2 as opposed to a tier 1, but this is good. Good overall for the health of the meta, is what I'd say. Shaco, our clone, basic attack damage decreased. AD Shaco's a bit too strong right now. We're aiming for a soft nerf. I don't know if I agree with this nerf, because the way that Shaco's being primarily played to begin with, right, is, at least by the one tricks, right, is not AD. People are going, oh, they are in Korea, huh? But if you go to Chase Shaco's page, I think his account's still called Chase, right? I'm pretty sure it's still called Chase. Plays AP. Oh wait, he's playing ARAMs, he's trolling. But yeah, he predominantly just plays AP Shaco, and most of the time, it's not even jungle anymore. And yeah, like, you see the way that this champion's played with Halo Blades. Like, this is a champion that needs to be effective early game in order to succeed. Like, his power curve is so fixed on being strong early and just dropping off late. Like, this champion just needs to snowball, and if you're not giving him access to the tools that will allow him to create an advantage, why are you promoting the AD playstyle to begin with? Like, people don't want to play AD Shaco right now. Like, he's not effective. He's not a very strong champion. The meta picks kind of just shit on him, like Lee Sin and Elise. There's champions that are simultaneously stronger early game and stronger late game than him, so it's not very impressive. It's just the champion's very whelming right now, and I don't think that they should be nerfing him at all. Like, the one tricks are having a field day with him now after the buffs that they saw last season, yeah, but one tricks will be one tricks. You know, the rank R one tricks have been untouched for a long time, and we're doing a lot better than the Shaco ones, that's for sure. Soraka, Q rejuve, heal increased, movement speed bonus increased. This is good. This is, for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge proponent of Soraka top. I think it's very good. It's a very good color that we haven't seen in the meta for a long time. Like, seeing passive top laners. But, ever since the introduction of Conqueror, really, we haven't seen passive top laners. But the Soraka changes, this is very, very good, because you're maxing Q anyway, top lane, or E. E into rough matchups where you're against, like, AD casters like Set and stuff like that. But, yeah, this is just very solid to our early game. The movement speed bonus isn't huge, but these are just good buffs overall. It's just, these are placebo buffs trying to get her to be played top lane again. She's very good top lane still. Like, the nerfs that hit her a couple patches ago were impactful, but not devastating, which is very, very creative. I really like this, and I think that Soraka top is very good in the fringe meta right now. TF. Holy shit, wait, really? Oh my god. This is huge for TF. Wow. So, I actually had a challenger US player who coaches me at the moment tell me earlier that TF was a mid and early game champion, not a late game champion. And I had to disagree with him because there are far too many TFs that just hit the sweet spot really early into the game. And, like, as far as damage goes, like, the sweet spot is when you have enough damage on your W without maxing it so that you can one-shot someone. But if the base damage is no longer... If the base damages are still what they used to be, and they're no longer a problem as far as reaching the sweet spot, these are very impactful buffs. This also helps us wave clear immensely. Like, it may look like a little 0.1, but you have to think about the way the TF clears waves is with red card predominantly being used twice. So this, and of course throughout different rotations you'll see more and more of that damage start stacking up higher and higher as he clears waves. So these are good buffs. These are really good buffs. This definitely makes him one of the stronger scaling mids. I wonder if this means we start seeing more Kassadin, actually, mid lane. Because he's probably one of the only champions that really kind of shits on TF in the sense that, like, yeah, TF moves, like, goes to different lanes and roams, but if you're shoving into Kassadin, he's just scaling. So I'm curious to see how this shifts the mid lane meta, but I don't think this really will affect anyone other than him and Kassadin, actually. Q slow duration increase, E stun duration increase. Mediocre buffs, they don't do anything to him. He's useless still. Very bad champion. He's very mediocre right now. I played him in ARAM the other day. He felt like super weak. This champion just suffers from a variety of issues. Like, he's good. He's a lot better than older God, that's for sure. But the issue isn't with his CC, it's with his damage and his trading pattern early. His E doesn't have enough range to get on top of melee champions without ranged champions without having a huge level of commitment in a degree, because a lot of times he'll have to burn flash to make a play, which isn't good in laning phase against ranged champions. So I don't think this really will make a huge difference for him. These are placebo buffs, they don't do anything for him. AD up, 80 growth, armor goes up, base armor, very little. Q base damage goes up. This is basically just making his lane phase a little stronger and making it easy for a small boss for the small boy. This is basically just an easier way to make sure that he can CS a lot better. This will definitely help his play rate around gold and plat, because players will have an easier time CSing on him. Okay, this is what I fucking hate. This is just disgusting. This Wukong change is fucking retarded. So I'll read through it for people who haven't seen this. One of our primary goals of this update is to give Wukong more of that true trickster playstyle that I felt he was missing. As a result, we're giving his combat power more versatility and ways to outplay his opponents. This monkey may finally be able to trick people instead of just one-shot whacking people with his staff. In addition, we want to power up his bruiser, top, and jungle build, since his mid and assassin builds, while strong, did not feel satisfying to play against. Now, also something 200 plus years. Look. Alright, his magic resist goes up by 6, health goes down by 37, almost 40, so mana goes up by 35, mana growth goes up by 7. Recommended items, shut up. He's still gonna go assassin. Passive, stone skin. The armors, the levels are going from 1 to 18 as opposed to scaling at landmarks, well, rather, how do I put this, milestones, right? Yeah, and it's also 5 to 11 instead of 4 to 8, so stronger late game. This affects his scaling considerably. He no longer gains bonus magic resist per nearby champion. His health regen is up, it's part of his passive. Man in the mirror, that's funny. Bonuses are increased by 62.5% for 5 seconds every time Wukong or Zikoi hit an enemy champion or monster, stacking up to 8 times for a total bonus of 500%. Keep in mind, that's 11 armor, by the way. Okay, if this stacks up to 8 times, let's actually just bust out the calculator real quick. Right? Oh shit, that went all the way up. That's 88 armor. 88 armor. Think about that. Think about that for a long time and tell me if you think that's smart. Alright? Oh wait, no, I actually fucked up the math on that. It's probably more. So it goes up to 500%, right? So it's 500%. Oh wait, fuck. This is me not knowing how to use a calculator, by the way. So the bonus is 11 times 500%. Oh my god. Alright, whatever. Oh, never mind. I could have done that in my head. I'm retarded. Yeah, so it's 55. It's actually less than I expected, but it's still pretty good. Like, this... Oh, God. He's like now an insta-pick into full AD comps. 10, 40, 70, 100, 120... 10 to 120 to 30 to 130. Plus, they're buffing the scaling, so you don't have to max it early. Although you would max E anyway, this just makes it so much more satisfying to play against the champion. New hit fast. Cast time now scales with his attack speed, so he atomizes into Triforce now, by the way. Added a timer to this ability. How much time is left? Where Wukong his decoy deal damage with basic attacks or abilities cues. Look at this. Fun! And the cooldowns were up, actually. So he doesn't have to max this, but he can also build CDR earlier, so it doesn't really matter. New kind of Pure Heart added a 300 rain dash that can't go over walls. Interesting. Interesting. The stealth duration is down, which is good. But he also doesn't do the AoE magic damage. His cooldown is 20 to 16 as opposed to 18 to 10, so it's down, but you also itemize into cooldown reduction a lot better now because you can go Triforce Cleaver first item. The mana just goes up to 60, helps late, hurts early. This is attacks and his ults. So basically, the W is what you want to max second now. You want to max E and then W, because this will be insane. Cool, attempt to attack the enemies. Wukong has recently attacked. Next attack is empowered. Decoy gains bonus attack speed, and Decoy will start spinning and knock up enemies that haven't been knocked up already from the initial ultimate cast. So basically, he gets 2 ults just off of his W. His E, 8 to 240 as opposed to 65 to 205, and it scales off of AP. AP instead of AD. Bonus attack speed gone up. The bonus attack speed duration goes... Oh, maybe you do buff Q. Maybe you do max Q then. Huh. I wonder if this means they want us to start building... No, they probably wouldn't want us to build Rage Blade on him, would they? Nah, very unlikely. Cooldown, scale is down to 8 seconds as opposed to already. So basically, what the... Oh, right, the R changes. Wukong can now cast his ultimate a second time within 8 seconds. Second cast can knock up enemies a second time. So the idea is to make Wukong even more of a teamfight threat than he is now. He gets 3 knockups and 2 ultimates as far as damage goes. The champ is going to be insane. They're sacrificing a lot of his early lane phase, which wasn't great already, but they're also bumping it up in the sense that he's getting more armor out of his passive. So basically, you want to pick him into 80 bruisers so that he can shit on them late game, early game, and mid game. Okay? He's a must pick into... Okay, he's a must pick into any full AD comp, because this champion is going to be insanity. Okay? Look, each tick of damage applies Conquer. It's just, this champion's going to be insane for the next couple weeks. And I'd say he's not permaban, but he's very strong. Very strong. These aren't fixing the problem with the champion. The champions will remain. His playstyle has shifted a little bit, but the champion still does what he wants to do. He still does what he wants to do, but he's impeded very easily. So, there you go. Zerath, Zwag is going to have a field day with these buffs. Wow. That's a Void Staff. That's a Void Staff and a half. It's like Karthus' Wall of Pain. Crazy. Right of the Arcane. 200 to 280 to 200 to 300. Just helps with scaling a little bit. Good. This is so bad. These changes right here. I fucking hate it. Alright? I fucking hate what they're doing with jungle. Disgusting. Actually disgusting. Disgusting. Okay? Here's the deal. If you want to change jungle diversity, what you have to do is not change the individual champions that you want to see in jungle, but you have to change the jungle items. Right now, the jungle is extremely difficult for anyone who doesn't clear well. Rengar is a perfect example. You can clear perfectly and be 50% HP by the time you do a full clear. Back when you had Ranger's Trailblazer, the jungle was a lot tougher, yeah, but you also had better passives on the items that allowed for faster clearing and healthier clearing. So this is bad. Doesn't do anything for anyone at all. Funnel mechanics. Dude, why do they do this shit? Why does the whole jungle have to suffer because of fucking funnel? Alright? Funnel's a bad mechanic, I understand. And Master Yi players who duel with Tarics are terrible, terrible, terrible people. And they're a threat to solo queue, and they hurt the environment as a whole. But, if I'm a jungler, and I'm carrying, right? And my team has to funnel into me to win the fucking game, not by choice, and not because that's our preferred playstyle, but because I'm ganking so much that I don't have time to farm the jungle, I don't want to get punished from it. Like, this is still not going to hurt funnel, because now instead of just taking the camps early, you bully the enemy jungler, shove out mid alone as Taric, or you just bring in the Master Yi to help last hit, not to actually last hit, and you bully the enemy jungler until he gets enough item to enough gold to. Okay, Skirmisher Saber, right? Where is it? Items. Skirmisher Saber is 1,000 gold. You know how much time it takes me to get 1,000 gold? Do you know how much time it takes me to get 1,000 gold? That's one first full clear. Which, if you're doing funnel, you're not playing for the early game anyway, right? Playing for the mid game. So this doesn't even hurt funnel. Like, yeah, it's bad for early, but it doesn't change funnel. They can't nerf jungle anymore. Like, there are videos of Silence E, one of the most prolific Master Yi mains to ever hit Challenger, saying that they should not nerf funnel anymore. They shouldn't nerf the way that the items in jungle interact with the gold experience. I'm a Rengar player. I don't build Warrior because it's a shit item for Rengar, because I have to itemize it to Tiamat early, and by the time that I have Tiamat, the power curve for Warrior isn't worth it anymore unless I'm going into a tanky team comp. Alright, and I'm going for a Cleaver build. So a lot of games, when I'm playing my Assassin playstyle, I don't want to finish Machete. And if you're forcing me to take the 400 gold deviation into the 650 that's necessary for, well, the 650 gold deviation that it takes for me to build Skirmishers or Stalkers, it's no longer a nerf to just funnel. You're nerfing so many different champions that don't like building the full jungle item early. Hecarim is a great example, right? You want to go into Triforce early, so you're buffing Hecarim, but you're fucking him over with this? He likes going Triforce first item and just keeping Talisman and Machete. So what happens when he, a champion who has consistency C, has an easy way to gank with his R and his E, has high damage early game with Ghost and his passive? What are you doing when that champion can no longer tax waves and be effective as a side lane threat later on? Like, this is just such lazy nerfs to funnel. Why don't you be creative and change the way that Master Yi and Taric interact with each other? Why don't you be creative and just change the way the jungle functions around other champions instead of buffing individual champions, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't... These changes don't do anything for anyone. They just fuck over the early game. Like, it's... To get Skirmisher Saber is one full clear. Alright? And when you read the description for the fucking item... in items, create a new item set, and you go into Skirmishers, right? And it says it gives you Monster Hunter, right? In the little passive, right? Oh, fuck. I would have to go into the thing. But Monster Hunter clearly says that the gold drop-off will stop as soon as you have a fully upgraded jungle item, which is Skirmisher Saber, not Warrior. Or Blood Razor, or any of the enchants. It's just this item. Right here. 1,000 gold item that can be achieved by just full clearing on Master Yi, which is something that is so commonly done, it isn't even funny. So you're not changing anything with these nerfs. They don't do anything. It's just lazy. Alright, top lane significance follow. Additional stance. Yeah, this is... That stance is a really good item now. I hesitate to say the best item in the game because it's not exactly a very common item for top laners to be building anyway. Yasuo's gonna have a field day with this change, so is, what's it called? Aatrox. Teleport, these are good, Nurse. You're punishing early TPs back to lane, which is good. You're giving Nimbus Cloak for free. Okay. Items, whatever. What? Oh, that's the ARM, okay. Bug fixes, upcoming skins. Huh. It looks like, what was his name? The little French rap movie. I forgot what it was called. Despero, I think. Yeah, it looks like him. This is a shit skin. Looks ugly as fuck. If you told me this was Soraka, I would believe you. Trash skin. This will be a nice skin. This will be a nice skin. Just chromas for them, so yeah. Alright guys, that's my patch rundown. That's all I had to say. Basically just harped on Riot's creative process for a lot of these items, so yep. Alright. Thank you so much for watching, and have a lovely day.